Is my slides visible?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay.
You already sharing, you unshare the screen right now.
Correct. So now I think it should be visible to you.
Yes, sir.
Now, but yeah, thank you, thank you. So as I told you, today we are going to look into an
Yes, sir.
yeah, thank you. So welcome to the Saturday's class. I think for the first time in VAT you'll be having a class on Saturday officially. Okay, and thanks for joining this morning for this class. And today we'll be discussing about the important. So all our discussions so far, whatever we had, are going to be today focusing only towards this point. That is called as elasticity of demand. Elasticity. When I say elasticity, the immediate thing what you remember is called as a rubber band. Okay, a normal rubber band which is used for packing and other things, right? So a rubber band. So that's why here we are going to speak about the other change or the trend in change. What is generally observed in any market. So when I say market, I'm going to speak only about two things: supply and the demand. But again, I'm coming to, in the last class, we saw what are the factors which are influencing demand, like price. Okay, in the last class, we saw about what are the factors influencing the demand. One is price. The other one we saw about the substitutes or the other complements, what is available with the product. What is the income of the consumer? What is the taste or the trends or what the consumer is going to have, and what is the strength? I mean, what is the structure of the population? What is popular in that particular region, and all these things. Then how this advertisements and motivates how it changes the attitude of the customers in buying the product, and how much customers can be expected for a particular product. So depending upon these factors, we saw that the demand is going to change. So these are the factors which are influencing the demand. Okay, so with this note, we'll move to the next step called as supply. So far our discussion was only based upon demand. We saw several types of demand, and we saw what are the factors influencing demand. In today's class, we will be looking the supply. So far we were speaking in the shoes of a consumer. Okay, now I'm going to change my shoes. I'll be thinking. Now we all are going to think in the terms of a supplier or the manufacturer. You should understand the difference between the manufacturer and the supplier. I told you, supplier is the one who supplies raw. This is the general thing, but our discussion is going to be different. So just listen to me. A supplier is one who is going to supply a raw material or a semi-finished goods or sometimes a complete product to another to the. So the supplier is in level 1, we call it as tier 1, and he is going to supply these things to the manufacturer or the OEM, who is going to release the product by collecting the raw materials or the semi-finished goods or sometimes the finished goods itself from the supplier. He is going to assemble into some another product and is going to sell the product. So that we call them as manufacturer. So supplier is one who is going to supply not only the raw materials, he is going to supply sometimes the supply may be raw material, semi-finished goods or finished goods. You got it? You got this? Are you able to understand who's supplier?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir, could you repeat the statement, please?
Yeah, I'm repeating it for you. Okay.
Thank you.
So yeah, please. Okay. So the idea. So our discussion is to introduce you who supplier is. Okay. Yes, supplier is one who supplies raw material. He'll be supplying some item to a manufacturer. Okay, is going to supply some items to the manufacturer. Okay, that item may be or that product may be a raw material itself, a raw material, or it can be a semi-finished product, or it can even be a complete product. I'll give you one example for you to understand. Say for example, I am a two-wheeler company or a four-wheeler company. I need tires. The two-wheeler manufacturer or the four-wheeler let's say I am from Maruti and I'm manufacturing a car, an Indian made car, but I can't manufacture all the lakhs of components in a car in my company. It's not possible. So now Maruti is the manufacturer. Now imagine Maruti is the manufacturer who can't manufacture all the products in house. Okay, so they have to depend upon some supplier to supply raw materials if they have to manufacture it in-house, semi-finished products if they want to do some value addition to that product and release the product in their name, or sometimes the complete product itself. So for example, I'm the company, like I told you I'm the manufacturer of Maruti vehicles. So Maruti needs tires. So tires they can buy from anyone. Let's say Dunlop tires. We have many types of many companies like Dunlop, Seat, okay, McLean. So we have a lot of tire manufacturing companies. Okay, I may tell them, okay, so today I am releasing 100 vehicles. You supply 400 tires for me. Since I am a car manufacturer, I am asking them to give 4 tires a vehicle. So 100 cars, 4 tires. So 400 tires. I am not including Stepney, of course, right? So you are adding 400 tires is the basic requirement, or 500 tires. If you add a Stepney, it is going to be 500 tires. You supply 500 tires to my company today. So now manufacturer is the name in or the OEM. Basically, I'm discussing about the OEM. The OEM is Maruti, and the supplier is maybe Dunlop. Okay, so now you know who is supply and what is here in this case. The supplier who is releasing the tire is giving a complete product. Okay, if you are the supplier, your product is your complete product. But for the manufacturer, only when the tire adds to the vehicle, the vehicle becomes a complete product. But for the supplier, for example, the Dunlop tires, the tire is useless only for them. The tire is the complete product, but the tire will be useless unless and otherwise it is fitted to a vehicle. You got the difference? Are you able to understand now who is the supplier and who is the manufacturer or the OEM?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so now I'll tell you with another example. The farmers are normally the suppliers. For example, I am from Ashirvad Atta. They are a leading brand from ITC. ITC is the manufacturer. ITC means ITC company is the manufacturer for Ashirvad Atta. Ashirvad Atta is a brand for them, or it's going to be the one of the product from ITC. So Ashirvad Atta is not producing, is not cultivating its own wheat and taking that wheat, processing it and converting into atta, and it's not selling in the market. The discussion is, it is going to collect from the farmers or the suppliers. The farmers cultivate and they repeat, and that is being sold to the Ashirvad Atta company, where just the processing happens. Just the processing happens and it is releasing. So now the supplier is the farmers. Okay, you got it? Now the supplier is giving a raw material. In this stage, in this example of Ashirvad Atta, the farmers are the suppliers and they are giving the raw material as they're giving only the raw material. They're not giving any semi-finished or finished product. They're just giving the raw material to the company. You got it? Okay. Are you able to understand the difference between supplier and manufacturer?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now with this note, okay, now forget about all these things. Now my discussion is, now if I mean supplier, he can be a manufacturer or he can be a supplier itself. Okay, I think I'm confusing you. Don't get confused. Just imagine, if I need something, if I am a customer and you are the manufacturer or you are the supplier. Whenever the consumer requires something, you are going to give me. So that means now you are the supplier to me. Okay, you are the supplier to me. So I need a mobile phone. You are giving me a mobile phone. You are the supplier. I am in the market and you are also in the market, where I am the consumer and you are the supplier. Okay, supply. Okay, so now this is the thing. So now, as I told you in the beginning of this class, I told you we have to now switch over our shoes from consumer to the manufacturer, the producer, or the supplier. So what I will do, when as a supplier, when I see there is a demand for the product in the market, what I will do? Anyone can answer? When I see a demand in the market, what will I do? I will increase my production. Exactly. That's what has happened now. As we have been discussing for the last 3 classes, with the example of sanitizer, I'm using the same example here. Suddenly the demand for sanitizer has raised, so automatically the manufacturers of sanitizer, even some companies change their business. Like they were doing this in the lower level. After this pandemic, they started doing other things. For example, I saw in the supermarket, there's a brand called Dauber. Dabur toothpaste. I think
Yes,
you
sir. Yes, sir.
heard about this. So they were not into they were not into producing sanitizers. I could see big bottles of sanitizer lying in there. All shampoo manufacturing companies now entered into producing sanitizers. Savlon, there is one company called Savlon or the Dettol. Dettol, I have checked. I know that they were producing sanitizers or this sanitizers, but already. But Savlon is one new company. It was already producing only the Dettol kind of thing, but now they are producing a huge number of sanitizers also. Okay, so some companies took it as a advantage. They took this pandemic situation as an advantage, and they since they saw a good price for their product in the market, they started increasing the production also or the supply also. Okay, so the price determines the market. Ultimately, the price is going to determine the market. So whenever there is a demand increase, automatically as a supplier, I will increase my production. Okay, so that's why what happened in early 90s or 2000, what happened, there was a more demand for engineers for any Indian family. So a lot of engineering colleges were started. So that is the supply and that is the demand. So as a supplier, as an engineering college, they saw huge admissions. But now what happens, the saturation point has reached. So there is a zone where it's under like engineering is falling down in India in case of admissions, not about the job. Okay, so this is the supply and demand. Okay, now let's move to the other things. So what happens with this? I'm just next few slides I'm just going to move, and I'm asking you to read the slides at your free time. Okay, so what happens is that always the price of, as I told you, the price of the market is going to determine the sales or the demand from in the market. Okay, so that's what. So, but in some cases that can vary. How if you're having a monopoly monopolistic in the market, then situations may change. I will give you one small example. Monopoly. So you are the only supplier in the market. Okay, you are the only supplier in the market. What will happen? You don't need to worry about anything, right? You don't need to worry about any change in the price, or you don't need to worry about the number of customers you have, because you know that automatically the people are going to come and buy only from your shop or from your company. Correct? Can anyone give me an example of a monopoly type of market?
So Indian Railways.
Indian Railways.
Exactly. Indian Railways. So we have no other option. We have to go by them. That's why, however bad the IRCT website or the system is, we have no other option. We have to go. Correct? It's a okay. It's that is what is affordable for the Indian people. So we have to bear with what are the difficulties. We are not able to book the tickets itself in any scheme. Whatever is promised by IRCTC. Even they provide bad service, bad quality of food inside the train, no water facility. Even we bear everything, but it has a very good customer. Railways is minting money actually, correct? Given any situation, they are minting money in terms of cargo handling or in terms of passenger handling. That is one example. I will give you one more example. If I think you can correlate yourself with you. Last time we introduced something called as open book test for the CAT 2. You remember? You remember?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So previous to that, what you were doing, you will go to the shop, you will Xerox some items, correct? Study materials.
Yes, sir.
Or at least the PPTs of the professors, just for you to copy the whatever the question is asked. You write something related to the question from the slides, and we have to evaluate that. So that's right. So I'm not complaining about the system. So here what happens? I used to see that there was only one Xerox shop inside VIT. Correct? Leaving whatever is there in the TT and SJT. The main Xerox shop is near to the Darwin shop. You remember that, near to our mechanical department?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
So actually he was running a monopoly, correct? If I'm not wrong. Just as an example, don't take it, don't go and fight with that shopkeeper. Right? So he is the monopoly inside VIT. That's what I felt. When there is only one shop available, then he is the monopoly. Correct? Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. but
Yes.
that's why monopoly should be avoided, because even he can raise. I mean, say for example, the cost of Xerox was 1 rupee normally outside. Even if he charges 2 rupees, we have no other option. We have to go and buy with him. Correct? So that's where monopoly. That's what we call as monopoly. Okay, so monopoly, right? Only one people, one man show. Okay, so that's monopoly. So now I'm stopping here and I'm moving to the next part of the discussion. So what is supply? So now we saw what are the factors which is influencing the supply. Now we are going to discuss what are the factors influencing the. We saw what are the factors influencing the demand. Now we are going to see what are the factors influencing the supply. First is resource prices. Correct. What is this? Because I am going to sell the product, I'm going to make a product. For that, to make a product, I need some raw materials. Whatever the thing, I need some raw materials. So the cost of my raw material, what I require to manufacture my product, determines the price of the product which I sell. Correct? If I'm selling, say for example, if I'm selling a sweet, I need some raw material. I need sugar, and the cost of the sugar and other ingredients determine the cost of the sweet what I'm selling in the market. So that is called as resource prices. Then technology. What kind of technology I'm adopting in my manufacturing process? Whether I'm using a traditional method or I'm using the latest technology. So I have to pay for the technology, right? That's why education is becoming costlier nowadays. We need all this sophisticated systems, projectors, smart boards, this, that, exams in digipad, also all these advanced things. When more technology enters, automatically the cost of the product is going to increase. Then taxes and subsidies. Sometimes the government gives a lot of tax exemptions. Some subsidies are given by the government to make you to run the business continuously. Even our Modi ji has announced a lot of relief packages for the SMEs on some. Sometimes even for big companies, they have removed they told them not to pay the loan back, right? The tax or the loan reduction or something like that they gave. Even for farmers, sometimes the government gives price. They're giving the permission for the farmers not to pay their loan, whatever they took from the nationalized banks. And sometimes price expectations. Sometimes the product sale, as I told you, the product sales of the product depends upon the price. What the customer we were expecting that Apple to release a economic phone, which you can affordable phones in the market. If the Apple phones is for 36,000, 40,000, I think many people will buy. Okay, but the cost of the product is not allowing all of us to have a Apple iPhone. Again and again, I think I'm giving the example of the same Apple phone, but no other options. That's the one we are closely related, right? Then number of sellers, as I told you, if you have more number of sellers, automatically, more number of suppliers for the same product, automatically the cost of the product is going to come down. But say for example, I'm the only farmer in my village. If I'm producing the rice or the wheat, everyone has to buy from me, then I don't mind about that, right? I don't mind about increasing my price at any day or any time. But if I have more number of farmers or more number of same competitors in my market selling the same product, I have to be careful. I have to reduce the price. I have to give a lot of offers on all these things. So supply demands on the number of sellers in the market or number of suppliers in the market also. So these are the factors which is influencing the supply a
Sir,
lot.
sir,
Yeah,
sir,
yeah.
sir, can you please one more time explain taxes and subsidies?
Taxes and subsidy. Okay, I'll explain you. Say for example, uh, uh, yeah, I'll give you one example. Say take the example of LPG gases. Okay, government is giving the LPG gas at subsidized price to the poor people. So that's why Modi ji during the last time he told, if you don't want any subsidy for your LPG cylinders, you can apply, so that the person who's badly in need of that subsidy can utilize that. So everyone can cook their food in LPG gas stores. Okay, I'm giving this example just to make you understand what is subsidy. Okay, subsidy is the relaxation or some support what is given by the government to the poor people, or in case of business, they are giving some subsidy to the people to start the business, or they are giving some subsidy, some kind of relaxed subsidies are basically sometimes some type of relaxed actions what the government is making in terms of financial payments. Taxes. Okay, I'll give you one example. If you're starting a business, you should understand this. What is the? I think I have to go more into the Monetary Finance. Okay, so if you're starting a business, you have to register yourself with several government agencies, and you're depending upon your sales or depending upon your import or the export, you will pay the taxes. Correct? You are going to pay the tax. But okay, let me give you a very simple example. If you are buying a product, okay, we will pay tax. Correct? If you are buying a product, you are going to pay the tax.
Yes, sir.
Correct? Even now, if you are going to a good hotel, you are going to a restaurant, you are going to pay tax for what you consume. You know that?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
yes.
You can see nearly like 36%, from 18% to 36%, they were charging you post this GST. You accept that? The cost of dosa or whatever, like let's say naan or roti, was only 10 rupees or 40 rupees maximum, but now we are paying much more than that. We are paying 40 rupees or for the naan, as well as for the for dining in a particular hotel, we are going to pay more money, because they charge you for the AC, they charge you for everything in terms of GST. Okay, so the cost of the food prices has drastically went up after this GST. Of course, there are benefits and I mean pros and cons of this GST. I'm not into that, but to make you to understand what is this taxes, I'm giving you. So this is called as tax. So what happens now after GST? There was a decline. That's what I'm telling. There was a decline in number of people going and having their food in the hotel. Correct? Are you able to understand what I'm telling?
Yes, sir. Yes,
After
yes.
this GST, there was a
Yes, sir.
decrease in. You can take any statistics report. There was a decrease in number of people who are going and visiting the hotel or with a family to dine or to celebrate. But drastically the situation changed. Now many number of people are going to hotel. Before this pandemic, I could see all hotels were filled. Their business were good. So this is what I'm telling. So that if there is a tax on some particular product, automatically the number of people, then it will lose their customers. Okay, the effect of taxes, since that was a food industry, that the tax was not the impact of tax was there, but it was able to stabilize. But imagine the other situation. The taxes for on entertainment went up drastically. Say for example, the ticket prices of malls were when I was watching movies during my college days, the maximum price of the ticket could be 50 rupees. Now I should spend nearly 180 rupees or 200 rupees or sometimes 120 rupees, minimum 120 rupees I should spend for a movie ticket. So from 50 rupees, or let's say 60 rupees, from 60 rupees is went to 120 rupees. So how much? 50% or I mean 100%, the rate has doubled actually. The 50 rupees to 120 rupees or 60 rupees to 120 rupees I have to pay, because the theaters are asked to pay a lot of taxes to the government, and that taxes automatically results on the product what they sell or the service what they offer. So that's why nowadays what happens, if you have taxes, your business is going to be more tax, you are going to lose automatically the business is going to go down. When I say subsidy, okay, some exemption they are giving. Okay, instead of doing like this, you can have a relaxation. Say if you're having a trust, you're running a college. If you're having a trust, that means automatically you no need to the trust doesn't pay any extra taxes, or the there will be tax redemption. If you're doing for any social causes, you will be having some relaxation, you will get some subsidy. If you're an MSME, if you start a business, you'll get some subsidy on your business, or they'll okay, you take loan for 1 lakh rupees, for just for an example, you can take a loan for 1 lakh rupees or 1 crore rupees, and after a period of time they'll give you some subsidy. They tell that okay, you don't need to pay the 1 crore or the 1 lakh to the bank, you can pay 80 lakhs or sorry 80,000, or you can pay 80 lakhs to the bank. They're giving some 20% reduction subsidy for you. So this is called as taxes and this is called as subsidies. I hope now you understand.
Yes, yes.
Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So now let's discuss about the market equilibrium. So people who have not listened to the discussion so far, at least now on, you are going to listen to me, because all your CAT questions or the quiz is going to be depending upon this topic called as market equilibrium. What is market equilibrium? So far we have discussed about the demand, and so far we have discussed about the supply, how supply affects the sales and how demand affects the sales or the price. Basically the price, we are talking about the price. So how price affects supply and demand, that's what we were discussing so far. So look at the graph. Are you able to move look into my cursor in the screen?
No,
Is
sir.
my, is my
Okay, yes,
cursor?
sir. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
please.
Yes, sir. Yes,
So
sir.
I told you in the x-axis
Yes,
of
sir.
this graph we have demand or the supply. In the y-axis I have price. So if you see here, the red color was what is called as the demand curve. The demand curve. Right, the black one what I have here is called a supply curve. The red one is demand and the black one is supply. So there should be an optimum point. I told you when the demand increases, the price is going to come down. When I told you when the price increases, the supply will be more. Of course, when the price increases, the supply has to be more, because as a supplier, I will produce more because my product is going to have more market. Like more number of people are going to buy my market, and I feel that the price of the product is high, so that I'll have more profit. So I will produce more. Okay, so there is a point where this demand and supply should meet, and that is the right price of the product. That is the right price of the product. That's what I told you from the example what we discussed. We were discussing about the sanitizer. I told you when the prices for sanitizers were high, the demand for sanitizers were also high. But what happened? People were not buying that much. The demand was there, but the people were not able to buy because the cost was high. Then the supply has increased, and now the demand is also increasing. So but there is a point where this now the price of the sanitizer has now reached an equilibrium. That means people are now able to buy the product from the market. So this point is called as market equilibrium. Are you able to understand this what is market equilibrium? Where
Yes, sir.
the supply and the demand curve intersects, or that is the right price of the product for the demand or the supply. That is the right price. Okay, so that's the right price where we call it as market equilibrium. So where the demand curve and the supply curve intersects, we call that as demand equilibrium. But there are some cases where there is a state of flux, right? There is a state of flux because sometimes whatever happens, the prices will be the same, or whatever happens, the supply and demand will be the normal. I'll give you I will give you I'm shooting a question to you. You try to answer this question. Okay, the state of flux. To understand the state of flux, I'm asking you a question. Okay, you can try to answer this question. Okay, can anyone answer what was the cost of your bubble gum, like Boomer or the Big Bubble, whatever? I don't know. I mean the other things. What was the cost of that Boomer or Big Bubble when you were a kid? When the first time when you bought it?
1 rupee.
7 rupees.
1 rupee, correct? Okay, everyone loves chewing gum, and I think so. You have bought one chewing gum for 1 rupee. Okay, now what is the price of the chewing gum?
So 5
1
rupees.
rupee only.
So some are 5 and
2
one is
rupees.
Sir, I'm giving
1
a
rupee.
one unit price, sir, not the basic. Just give me the example of Big Bubble or the Boomer. Boomer, let's say Boomer.
So
1
1
rupee.
rupee.
1 rupee. Okay. There was there's a thing like a Vicks candies. Candies, I don't know how to call that. Right? Vicks. You can mute. Others can mute yourself, please. Okay. The Vicks, you know that Vicks tablets or the Vicks candies?
Cough
Yes,
drops.
Yes,
yes.
sir.
Cough drops,
Sir.
cough drops. Okay, sorry, cough drops. Okay. So what is the cost of that? When you were a child, it was 1 rupee.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Now also it's 1 rupee.
50 paisa.
1 rupee.
Okay, 50 paise to 1 rupee, maybe, right? Okay, so there are some products. Let's stick on only to the example of Boomer then. It was 1 rupee then, now also it is selling for 1 rupee. How come that is possible? Can anyone guess?
The value of 1 rupee is decreased.
Value of 1 rupee has decreased means they have to increase the price, right? But they have not increased the price of the Boomer.
Equilibrium state has reached.
But cost of raw materials also increasing, right?
The number of people consuming Boomo must have increased.
Market is volatile. I told you, supply and demand. Demand for this thing, chewing gum. I mean, I stopped eating. Chewing gum long back, right? As a kid, I used to love chewing gum, but now no more. Like after college, I don't. I think I don't. Maybe 1 or 2 times I must have had. Not too much. Same like that, right? Okay, I'm leaving this question to you open. You try to answer in the next class, right? I will be one day. You take Sunday time and Monday. Let's discuss the same topic about this chewing gum example. It has something to do with the state of flux. Okay, so when demand, like, okay, let's get back to the discussion. I'm keeping the question open for you to answer. Demand and supply has to be maintained in an equilibrium state for it to have a price, have a constant price, or a reasonable price. Okay, so with that, so the law of supply and demand is a theory explaining what the interaction between the supply of a resource and demand for the resource. Correct. This is general. This is what we have been discussing. The effect of availability of a particular product at the desire or demand of the product based upon its price. That's what we discussed about. So far we have been discussing the desire to buy the product, the availability of the product, and the ability to pay for the product. Okay, so this is what we have been discussing. So generally what happens, low supply, high demand. The supply is less, the demand is more. There is increase in price. Good example is our sanitizer. The supply was less, the demand was more. Automatically the price of the sanitizers were high. Now what happened? There is more supply of sanitizers. The demand is somewhat, it didn't come out drastically down, but it's keep on decreasing. The demand of the supply of sanitizers went up, the demand for sanitizers come down, so automatically the price of the sanitizers also came down. Correct? This is a general rule. I am speaking the general rule of supply and demand. Okay, are you able to understand this? So with this, I'm just going to the other discussion. So
Excuse
normally
me,
what
sir.
happens? Yes, please.
Sir, does inflation play a role in supply?
Sorry, you're not audible. Can you repeat the question, please?
Sir, does inflation play a role in supply?
Inflation. What do you mean by inflation here? Can you clarify it for me?
So the general rise in the price of goods throughout the years.
Okay, so you want to ask me what's the question? How the inflation?
So does that play a role in supply?
To an extent, I can't say 100%. To an extent, it will have its influence, because, but anyway, after a period of time, it will happen. Say when I don't know to speak more politics in this, but I'm helpless, right? Because that's a global situation. When I speak economics, I should speak politics also. Okay, so let's take this. If there is an inflation of prices, that's what Congress, during the Congress government period. Sorry, I don't want to mention the name. So let's keep, during the previous government, there was a drastic increase in price of raw materials. That's what the current party, the current ruling party told, that there is increase in the price of grocery products, especially the dal and wheat or something. Able to eat, they're starving. Many people are dying of starvation. Many farmers are committing suicide. This was the situation what the current ruling party complained about the previous party. There was an inflation. There was inflation of prices. Of course, there was an inflation of prices, but over a period of time, what will happen? They will trade, that will get stabilized. That is going to get stabilized, because no one is since the prices increase. It's not like I'm not going to eat. I have to eat. Correct? If the prices are increased, I have to eat. No, I have no other option. So to eat, I will earn that much to buy the product and consume. Right? Some extra work I have to do. I have to earn that money to eat. Correct? That's what is going to happen. Even the price of wheat, the dal, or the oil, whatever things is going to increase. Automatically, we should increase our standards to buy the product. No other option. No one is going to come and feed you freely. So inflation will have an effect. This is in case of a customer. In case of the supplier, or in case of the manufacturer, what happens? In case of manufacturer, what happens? If the raw material required for his manufacturing activity is increasing, okay, the cost, if the cost of raw material for the supplier or for the manufacturer is going to increase, he has to pay because he's having a very good price in the market, because the price of the product what he is selling in the market will also increase. Okay, if the price of the raw material is increased, the manufacturer will automatically increase the cost of his product what is sold on the market. Correct. So that's why inflation will have an effect. Of course, that is going to affect, but that are like short lived. Like the example what I gave on GST, the cost of food items went up. People stopped going to the hotels, but after a period of time, now everyone is since GST is done. It's not that I'm not going to take my family or I'm not going to take my friends for the party. It's not like that. We are going to hotels, restaurants. Of course, the numbers has increased. Okay, even people now instead of going there, they're having Zomato or Uber or whatever thing for balancing that. Correct. So that's the thing. Okay, so I hope I answered your question.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. So, this is another case. If I ask you, if in general, I'm asking a customer, what is the best price you will give for a product? What will be the answer? Any product. You are the customer. I'm telling you, I'm going to sell you a product. What you will ask from the supplier or from the manufacturer or from the in the market? What will be the thing?
It should be lower than the price of the competitors.
Competitors. Okay. Let's why here what comes, the bargaining comes. Correct. Let's keep the let's say I'm going to a shop. I think especially in the street side shops, we will find this. Say for example, I want to buy a book. I don't want to buy a new book. So what I do, I go to a local street side shop, and there's a old bookseller. I'm going and asking him to give me a book on so and so book written by a so and so author, and he is telling me, you give me 500 rupees. The cost of the book may be 2000 rupees, but he is giving me 500. Will I take it just like that?
No, sir.
No, I will ask him. No. You know, this book is in Chennai. I will get the book for 200 rupees. You are telling 500 rupees in Vellore. It's not possible. You should give me 200 rupees or even less than 200 rupees. Basically, then that guy will tell, okay, I'm giving it free for you. You take it. Okay, that's what the reply that guy will give you, right, to mock you out. So he'll tell, okay, let you take it free, but don't pay me, don't come in before my shop year after, like that only the guy will tell, because customers are basically, they don't want to pay anything for the product. If your manufacturer is giving it for free, they'll be more happy. Okay, that's what I'm telling. Naturally, the ideal price a customer would pay for a goods would be, it's not good, it's goods. Goods would be $0. I mean zero money. However, if your manufacturer is selling the product for zero, what will happen? He has to shut down his business and he has to run away. Correct? If something is for free, if for a long time, if the producer or if the manufacturer is giving for a low price, he has to close the market. That's the example what I gave you in the last class about the farmers who are producing tomatoes or the perishable goods. You got it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So if you are in last class, you will understand what I'm talking now. The producer, the customer always wants the product for no price or for zero. But if the producer is giving, or the manufacturer or the supplier is giving the product for zero price, he has to shut down his business. There should be a break even. That's why this market equilibrium is very, very important. Like, there should be some profit. At the same time, the profit value should not affect the purchase power of the consumer. So that is called as market value or market equilibrium. Okay. So now, that's why to have a optimal price, there should be a combined level of utility between or there should be intersection between the supply and demand. Okay, sometimes what happens are deviations from this point of or the point where the supply and demand curve intersects. If there is a deviation from this point, there is going to be a huge loss financially, which we call as dead weight loss. Okay, this is an important term. You just note it down. This is called as dead weight loss. So if my product is not able to reach that market equilibrium above that point or below that point, I'm going to lose my business. above the point or below the point, I'm going to lose the business. So that is why reaching the market equilibrium is very, very important. So if it's not reaching that point, we are calling it as dead weight loss. Okay. With this note, okay. Do you have the next class today?
Yes.
Yes.
At what time you have?
11 o'clock, sir.
11 o'clock.
Now, yes, 11.
Time to discuss about this. Okay, let me try to complete as much as possible. Okay, so let's get back. So as you see here, okay, yeah, next topic we are going to discuss is called elasticity of demand. I told you it's very, very important topic for you to understand the elasticity of demand, how much your demand is flexible or how much you can stretch it. That's the thing. So what is this elasticity of demand? You can note it somewhere. If you have a notebook by your side, please note it down. Elasticity of demand is the measure of sensible elasticity of demand is what measures how it is used for measuring sensible quantity demand. Sensible, I underline the word sensible. How sensible quantity demanded is to change in price, right? If basically what is elasticity of demand is if the price of the product is changed in the market, how the demand is going to be affected, what will be the impact on the demand. Okay, elasticity of demand measures the percentage change in quantity demanded for a percentage change in price. Simply, it's called as relative change in demand for a commodity as a result of relative change in its price. Is called sorry, I have a disturbance outside, I can't help. Okay, so that's the elasticity of demand. What is that? So am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Is it clear, right? I have a background noise, so I can't help. Sorry. So what the elasticity of demand is what? If the price of the product is changing in the market, what is the impact on its quantity sold on the market? Okay, because the price determines everything. That's what we have been discussing, only that the price is determining everything. So if I change the price of the product, how it is going to affect the quantity demanded in the market? Okay, that is elasticity of demand. There are different types of elasticity of demand depending upon the product what we are going to what we find in the market. Okay, so next, so this is the same thing. So okay, so generally what we know, whenever there's a fall in price, increase in price, the demand is going to come down. Whenever there's a increase, whenever there's increase in price, the cost of, whenever there's increase in cost of the product, that the quantity of the product or the demand for the product is going to come down. Whenever there is a decrease in price or the reduction in price, the demand for the product is going to go up, and there will be a point where the supply and demand will meet. That point we call as equilibrium point, and that state we call as market equilibrium. So this is what we have discussed so far. But now now we are going to see some few types of changes. What is going to we are going to see some type of changes. Please note it down. We are going to see all these 4 types of demand. So first one, these are called as types of elasticity of demand. In short, we call as EOD. Elasticity of demand. In short, I call as EOD. Okay. So first we have price elasticity of demand. We have income elasticity of demand, cross elasticity of demand, advertising or elasticity of demand. So we have 4 types of elasticity of demand: price, income, cross, advertising. Okay, because of the price, how the demand is changing, because of the income of the particular customer, how the demand is changing, depending upon the substitutes or the other components available, how the demand is going to change. Because of advertisements, how your demand is going to change. So we are going to look into this 4 points. So price elasticity, income elasticity, cross elasticity, and advertising elasticity. So now you got the types of elasticity.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now I stop here because I want to have a continuous discussion on the elasticity of demand, and of course it's going to be, and the time is also not there. So I'm just stopping it here. In the next class, that is on Monday, let's discuss about the elasticity in detail. Okay, we'll discuss in detail. Okay, so and I want to give you some instructions. Please log in at the right time. Okay, please log in at the right time, so that you'll have you can attend the class in the right time, so that you will have all our discussions. You can understand all our discussions whatever we are having here. I could see some people logging in only after 15 minutes. That's very bad. Yesterday I know some people logged in and they are here, and shamelessly they are also asking for attendance in the WhatsApp group. Someone they didn't even log in. See here, is my screen visible to you?
Yes, sir.
No,
No, sir.
we are able to see you, but not the screen.
Now?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes,
see
sir.
here. I'll tell you what I will give you the list. So see here, you could see there are more options, right? I can go there. Okay, I can go there. There's a download attendance sheet. You see that? You see here?
Yes, sir.
I am downloading that attendance sheet. Okay, so now it shows that there are 62 participants here. Correct? There are 62 participants here. Okay. Are you able to look into this Excel sheet now?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So it's,
So it will clearly tell me when you logged in, when you left, all these details are available. Let's take the example of Devansh Sunit, right? He has joined at 10 o'clock, 10:30 he has left, 10:14 again he joined,
Sir,
10:30 he has again left.
sir,
Just
this
an
is
example.
Devansh.
I'm not
There
complaining.
was a network error,
I
so
understand.
that's why I had.
I'm not, okay, Devansh, I'm not complaining. I'm just taking this since your name was in the first time. I'm getting there. I'm giving you an example. I'm happy that you are joining, even if if you have an internet issue, right? So
Yes,
this will.
I had joined it immediately, sir.
Yeah. So Abhinav also, so I see here he also has joined at some time and he has left again. He has joined. Even yesterday, Abhinav I had a lot of problem with him. So even Daman has left again. He has rejoined. So the complete history of your attendance is there. When you joined, when you left, see even Shinde, Swaraj, Jonathan had some issue. He has joined, he has left. So all these things are there. We understand this situation because it's very difficult for you to sit for 50 minutes continuously from morning to evening for all your classes. I do understand you have some difficulties. I'm not telling that you can focus 100% in the class, but try to join at the right time so that something will enter your ears at least. Okay, I know how difficult it is to have sit before the computer or using your mobile phone, sitting in front of the class. I do understand the difficulty, but this is there. But yesterday, someone was asking me attendance. See, I can clearly show you when you joined, when you left, and whenever you request attendance, I'm checking with this list. Okay, but still, some people are trying to cheat. I'm not happy with that kind of attitude, right? Please correct yourself. And so I could clearly say someone, even I can show you, but I don't want to pinpoint again. I want to tell the names also. Please have some I'm not able to look at you, you are not able to look at me, so I don't know. I mean, really we all people are good, but still you have some kind of what is ethics. Okay, I don't like advising my students because they are already good students, but try to understand this. Okay, we are also I'm also feeling it very bad to tell these things to a matured students like you. Okay, so now see some of you are not I think everyone can post in the attend the poll, but many people are finding it difficult to post in the poll whatever I am posting. Okay, so now I'm submitting a form here. You please submit the poll. Okay, even if you want, I can show you how the attendance is posted. You're filling this form. I'm audible?
Yes, sir.
yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes,
When
sir.
when you post this poll, all your email IDs are collected. Then in VTop, we copy all. Then I can download this from the forms. I can download as a Excel sheet. when I download as an Excel sheet, all your email IDs I can copy, and there is a provision in VTOP where I can post all your email IDs. And for the email IDs, it is giving me the registration number. Again, I copy all the registration number, and in my VTOP, I go and post it as the bulk post. What I do is I have to copy the registration numbers and post it. So there's going to be no mistake. So if you really fill the form, then you get the attendance. Otherwise, you will not get the attendance. Okay. Even if you're attending the class, we are supposed to post attendance only depending upon the poll what we created and the answers what you are posting. Okay, so please understand that. I know there's a difficulty, but there should be some kind of things we have to follow during this lockdown. Even I am helpless. Okay, so please cooperate. Now I am posting a question in the portal in the poll using Microsoft Forms. Just try to fill it. Okay, just try to answer this post.
Sir, actually what happens is in some of our classes, the forms doesn't work. As in the faculty posts the form in the chat box, but the students are not able to vote their opinion. So what happens in such a case, sir?
Such cases, I have to take the help of the Excel sheet what I showed you.
For the attendance list, right?
Okay.
Sir.
Even I am helpless.
The same thing happens.
This technology is not reliable always.
Correct, sir. Got it, sir. Sure, sir.
Okay. I have to go with the thing what is advised to me.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I have posted the question in the chat box, the poll. Please try to submit it. Okay. Don't miss Monday's class. I am going to discuss about the equilibrium, elasticity of demand. Sorry, not equilibrium, elasticity of demand. So please attend that class. Oh my God. All my discussions are going waste. I told you market equilibrium does not depend upon price. Okay. Check the answer. I just little bit confused you, and again everyone started. Just a small change in twist in the question. What is the right answer?
It depends on supply and demand.
I told you demand and supply depends upon the price. So market, I told you market equilibrium does not depend upon the price. But actually what? It is depending upon the price, correct? Because price is what is determining the market equilibrium.
Correct, sir.
So what is the right answer? True or false?
False.
False.
But many people are
False,
voting
sir.
true. Even I'm giving the answers to you. Okay. See, now I got 59 responses. Okay. So, but actually how many people attended the class? 62. Okay, 62 attend the classes, and I find responses from 61 now. Okay, so one people, I don't know, who was the one who didn't attend the class, I don't know. Now, what will I do? Okay, now I got 62, all 62 I got. So I'm happy now. So now there will not be any problem in posting the attendance, correct? Okay.